What's up, everybody? Good morning. Welcome to a home day edition of Morning Scone presented by Brock, Veterans Orthopedic Clinic. And Hudco Roofing, HudcoRoofing.com. Chair's falling off here. I think I do have to go that way. Anyway, so what's good, everybody? Hope y'all are having so far a great start to your Wednesday. LSU loses last night to Georgia. So thin ice here for the Tigers. I am going to maintain that they are still in. I'm going to maintain LSU is still in the NCAA tournament. We'll go over their resume, which is their final resume, obviously, that the selection committee will consider. And some of the other things just to kind of keep an eye on for the rest of this week. But we'll run through some of that here shortly. I will say some good mornings here. As always, please like the page, share the post, like the page, share the post. Those of you watching on YouTube, please hit the like button. Huge help. Trivia Carter, Cliff Nelson, Tim Gotro, Jason Mobile, giving YouTube my love today. Thank you, Jason. Appreciate that, man. Breezy Bro, Kirk Taylor, Dean Mary, what's up, what's up? Kelly Presley, Scott Greenbaum, good morning. Lowell Cormier, hope you're doing well. Hey, Dad, Jeff McKithen, Shannon Russell, what's up, what's up, what's up? Not surprised. Dylan Landry, Kelly Grove, Stephen Miller, what's up, everybody? Good morning. Shannon Russell, even if we're in the NCAA tournament, are we good enough to compete? Sure, Shannon, absolutely. You'll have Landon Marceau going. He was pretty brilliant yesterday. Should have been out of the first inning. I mean, your starting pitcher threw a complete game yesterday. It was awesome. And, but for your seldom used second baseman kicking a ball in the first inning, or making an errant throw, I should say, in the first inning, he might throw a complete game shutout. I mean, the fact that Landon Marceau threw a complete game, look at how efficient he was. 97 pitches. That's incredible. So 4 runs on 9 hits, struck out 9, walked 3. Marceau was really good yesterday. Got out of trouble a couple of times. You had 2 really big opportunities where you just couldn't come through. When you wasted leadoff runners multiple times, but I would say the big one was in the 4th, where Bianco leads off with a single, Thompson singles, so now you got first and second, nobody out. Cranford up, they try to bunt to get the runners to second and third. Cranford can't get the bunt down, and he strikes out swinging. Ugh. They pull Wagner for Woods at that point, and Milazzo's up. Hey, babe. You going?
He sleeps so much longer if he's in our bed.
I know. It's weird.
That's the whole difference.
I know. Okay. Well, I got the monitor.
Thank you.
Okay.
I'll be here at 8:30-ish.
Okay. All right, babe.
Are you doing
Yeah, Mom. Yeah. That's okay. All right. Have a good day. Love you too. So now you've got 1 out, first and second, Milazzo up. And this is where I just can't understand what Maneri is doing. With Milazzo up, who hits one... Milazzo on the season is hitting 155. You got a 155 hitter at the plate. You got a 3-2 count. 3-2 count. And you call it hit and run. With Drew Bianco at second base, by the way, who ain't stealing that base if Milazzo can't make contact. I'm dumbfounded. I'm dumbfounded that Palmineri would put on the hit and run right there. You get to strike him out, throw him out, you're out of the inning. Even if Milazzo strikes out, you've flipped your order over. You've got Morgan, Cruz, Dugas coming up. I mean, is it reasonable to think that maybe Trey Morgan could slap a single and score a run and keep the inning going for Dylan Cruz? Yes. Why in the world? Like, that's one of those things where, I know I'm not at the game, not there to do the post-game interviews and all that stuff, but it's like, that's one where I got to know the answer to that question. Why is the hit and run on in that spot? And if the answer is, well, it's had a feeling, like, that's not good enough, So you ran yourself out of that inning in the fourth in a really good opportunity. And then, of course, again, the eighth was the real opportunity. Nice, that was a great opportunity. First and second, nobody out, and you get nothing. And then in the eighth, Morgan led off with a walk. Harris was pretty wild. Morgan walks, Cruz singles. So now you're first and second. Dugas pops out behind home plate. And then he hits Doty with a pitch on the bounce. So you get the bases loaded, one out. And then Arnold and Bianco strike out back to back. Arnold's at bat was competitive. It was 10-pitch at bat. But I know everybody's saying, how come they can't hit this guy? All he's doing is throwing fastballs, 94. And I get it. But the kid's also got over 60 strikeouts in 30 some odd innings. I mean, he averages 2 strikeouts per inning. So it's not like it's just LSU hitters that couldn't hit this guy. I mean, you're bringing 94 from the left side with some action on it. A lot of guys struggle to hit it. So anyway. So LSU loses. Very, very disappointing. I mean, had you won that game, lock, stock, and barrel, you're in. Done, you're in. I still think they're in, but now you have to do some scoreboard watching. Because now what you have to be leery of are bid stealers. For example, if there are leagues where you're going to have a one bid league where there's a team that's, would be in as an at-large and they lose their conference tournament, well, now that team still gets in as an at-large and the conference champion just stole a bid. Make sense? So you gotta watch out for the bid stealers. You just need chalk to hold. You need teams to win their conference tournament that are already going to be in the field. So, and Bama and Georgia winning yesterday, I think gets both of them in. So, anyway, so I'll come back to the questions here in just a quick second. But when we look at LSU's resume, their RPI fell to 24, so they were 21, so they fell 3 spots with the loss. 24 is plenty good enough to get you in. Strength of schedule is 3, plenty good enough. As we've talked about, you had 10 quad 1 wins. That's now down to 9. I don't know who lost, and let me see who lost and dropped out of the top 50. I don't know. Forgive me all. I'm not sure who it is. Somebody lost and dropped out of the top 50. I'm glancing here real time and I don't see who it is. But anyway, so LSU's 10 quad 1 wins are now down to 9 quad 1 wins. Yeah, I'm not sure. I'm not sure who it was. I'll have to dig deeper. So 9 quad 1 wins, and remember, you're 10-7 on the road, and you get more credit for road wins than you do home wins. Home win would be a point, a road win would be a 1.5. So 10-7 on the road is significant in these projections as well. So every 13 SEC wins, every metric lines up for LSU. You would have loved to get to 14 wins over SEC teams. You're at 13. It should still be good enough to get in. So anyway, so that's where it stands. All right, let me get back to you. Thank you for indulging me as I went through all of that. I hope that was sort of helpful. Let's see, Brandon, man, I was glad I'm sleeping during the game. Oh, my kid had swimming class at 6, so I was completely tuned out of that one. I would have loved to have seen them get at least one more win. Hopefully RPI and SOS are saving grace. And look, and all the other stuff I just went through, but they should be in. Bud Smith, John Bro, Stephen Miller. The only thing that would hurt is if there was a massive Bud stealing auto bids. Teams winning. That, yeah, okay. Bids, massive bid stealing auto bid teams winning conference tournaments. Bingo. That's so. That's, I would say, the one thing that I was looking at this last night and you find it now. So, like, when you look at teams like East Carolina is a good example, right? You look at CUSA, where you got Tulane and Southern Miss, teams that are going to be in the field. You don't need somebody stepping up and like in winning that tournament that you're not expecting, right? Like the Big Ten champion is going to be in Ohio State, Indiana, among those bubble teams that you'd currently think are out. But Iowa, most projections have Iowa in, right? So you would love for Iowa to win that Big Ten tournament and have Ohio State and Indiana lose early in the Big Ten tournament. So, I mean, that's kind of the stuff that you're cheering for right now. Like, Liberty is projected in the field. Like, you want Liberty to win their conference tournament. That's kind of the stuff that you're looking at as you head through this week. You just need chalk to hold. So, I would suggest you, if you're not, get on D1 Baseball. Those guys do a great job. They'll follow it all, and we'll try to keep you posted with what we're really cheering for. I might get Kendall on the show today to see if I will get Kendall on the show today if he can squeeze. I know he's at the SEC tournament, so see if I can get him on to kind of explain all that, like what leagues you should really be focusing on, what teams that we should really be focusing on, what LSU fans to be pulling for this week. Richard Bruce, good morning. I don't know who keeps the stat, but the amount of times we have the bases loaded and get 0 runs has to be close to a record. I don't know, Richard. I mean, yeah, LSU leaves a lot of men on base. It's because the bottom third of the order isn't very good. But I'd also say, and I've said this a bunch over the past month, which is, and I'm going to do this research today, I think the lineup is better when Drew Bianco is in the 8-hole because it gives you some production in the bottom of the order, and he's better in the 8-hole than he is when they move him up in the order. I think the gigantic mistake Pulmonary made yesterday was starting Collier Cranford at second instead. And I get it. Georgia's throwing a lefty. He wanted right-handed bats in the lineup. If Gio wasn't available, he moved Bianco to center, so you needed a second baseman. You could have put Arnold at second base, but then who DHs? I would have said DH Beloso even against a lefty, because as we've talked about, Beloso hits lefties just as good as he hits righties, and Beloso doesn't strike out. That would have been my choice. Give me a veteran guy who's been in that situation before, who doesn't strike out, who puts the ball in play. That's what I would have liked to have seen him do. Even if or you could have kept Bianco at second, you could have moved Cruz to center, and you could have put Sanford or you could put Sanford or Drost in right field, and you could say neither one of those guys are hitting particularly well. That's true, but at least they have the opportunity to run into one. One of those guys, at least, if you throw it over the plate, they put a charge into it, it could leave the yard. Like, they have that potential. Cranford didn't really have that potential. And then it's exacerbated by the fact that, he struck out twice in big spots. So, Hang on one second, y'all. I hear something. Just make sure it's not true. Erica, turn on the TV. I was like, I know I'm hearing something. I'm not dreaming this. Anyway, as always, shout out to Brock, y'all, Baton Rouge Orthopedic Clinic. And of course, Hudco Roofing, hudcoroofing.com. Brady Smith, morning, Matt. Tough watching the NBA playoffs when the Nets have an all-star team. Even Blake Griffin was dunking on dudes last night. A renaissance, huh? Cliff, what did LSU hit or not hit with runners in scoring position? Let's see. LSU, I'd have to go back and look at runners in scoring position, but as far as runners left on base, LSU left 1, 2, Bianco left 5 on base last night. Telling you, bruh. 1, 5, 7, 8. LSU left 8 on base last night. Georgia left 7 on base. So that number wasn't enormous. It just came in a huge spot, right? Deborah Coward, good morning. Shelby Kelly, LSU scouting report, throw lefties, doesn't matter who. It's kind of true. They're making the tournament at this point. LSU making the tournament at this point is irrelevant. They're not winning a regional, and everything points to Palmineri retiring. Shelby, I mean, I get it. I understand the frustration. But after last weekend, when LSU won the series against Texas A&M, the whole vibe is, oh, man, well, look, it's baseball, and anything can happen, and they can get hot, and Marceau and Hilliard, like, you ride this emotional roller coaster, but I get it. I mean, this isn't a great team, but I don't care. I still want them in the field. Like, I want LSU playing regional baseball. It's more fun. I want to watch this team play in the postseason. Like, why would you want them to not be in the postseason? I mean, just because you're not going to win a national title doesn't mean you don't go to postseason. Of course, I want these guys, the young guys, to be able to experience what it's like to play in a regional, and to have to go on a road on the road and play in a regional. I mean, whatever, you know. I want that. I want them in. So, I mean, if your whole vibe is, well, they're not going to win a national title, so who cares? Like, then there's only 6 seasons in the history of LSU baseball that have mattered. I don't buy that, man. Kenneth Martin, 7 hits, 7 singles. Georgia threw out 3 young lefties that all threw plus fastballs, and LSU couldn't figure it out. Tim Gautreau, important to the program as a whole to get a regional bid, regardless if they go 2 and Q. Whole lot of young players need to be exposed to postseason, missing starts, hurting programs. I completely agree with all that. You know, I'd also say, you know, not having Gio does cause a domino effect. I mean, you know, LSU's record with him is notable. I mean, I don't think that Gio's a great player by any stretch. Like, I don't think he's not a big leaguer or anything, but he's played a really good center, and whenever he's not there, it causes a domino effect, a chain reaction, like you saw, you know, in the Thursday night against Texas A&M, and what you saw yesterday. When Gio's not in there, you have to shuffle the deck, and it makes you weaker in other spots as well. So I think your best lineup is when you got Bianco at second and batting 8th, and Gio probably 1 spot ahead of him batting 7th and playing center. You know, in that situation, the only out, like true out in your lineup right now is Milazzo in the 9-hole. But shoot, even Milazzo got going a little bit against Texas A&M. Spurge, what's up? Morning, Matt. Would hate to see Maneri go out on this note. I agree with you, Jerry. I would hate for that to be the last game Maneri ever coaches at LSU. I'd love to see him get in a regional and see if they can go make a run. I mean, I'll put it to you this way. You know, Shelby, like, and y'all have heard me say it before, I mean, we could talk about Coastal Carolina, and we could talk about Fresno State in 2008, and we could talk about Houston coming to Baton Rouge and winning the regional in 2014, and we could talk about Auburn in 2019, being a 14-win SEC team and making it through the Atlanta regional and going all the way to Omaha. And we talked about Mississippi State in 2018 being 15-15 in the league and then making it to the championship series. I mean, those examples exist because the SEC is a really tough league, and teams are usually hardened when they come through this league and prepared for whatever they're going to face in regional play. I mean, that's a fact. But I mean, could Landon Marceau go out and win on a Friday night against a 2 seeds number 1? Yeah. If you get a winner's bracket game, you hand the ball to Mikhail Hilliard. Do you think Mikhail Hilliard could get you a win? And some I didn't think I'd say a month ago. But could Mikhail Hilliard get you a win in a second game? Yeah. Why not? I mean, see Mikhail Hilliard go up against Arkansas, pitch 7 1/3 against that lineup. Sure. You know what I mean? Like, and then could you find a way to not lose the next 2 games when someone has to come back and beat you twice? Sure. I mean, like, can I make the case for all that? Absolutely, I can make it. It's not like trying to make the case why Lipscomb is going to Tuscaloosa and how they can win one for the Gipper and beat Alabama. Like, that's just not practical. In baseball, it is. It's why it's fun. I'm not telling you to predict it. I mean, at this point in the season, you've played 56 games now. I mean, you are what your record says you are. Shannon, I haven't been commenting this past month because I've been in Facebook jail. A lot of people in Facebook jail. It's one of those reasons I'm telling you, blockchain technology, you'll hear me talk about crypto and stuff. That's why. I mean, imagine when we have a decentralized internet where companies like a decentralized social media where companies like Facebook can't just take you off of their platform because they don't like what you post. Anyway, Steve Scott, morning, Matt. Hated the game, loved finally watching Hold the Rope last night. Now who's the next Skip Bertman we need leading this team? Well, Steve, there is no next Skip Bertman. There is no next the greatest coach ever. But can you get someone with a winning pedigree to come in here and hopefully rebuild to a championship level? Yeah, I think so. Truax, what's up, man? Shane, I'm just mad we lost to Georgia. Stephen Miller, inconsistency. Got him 20 minutes behind on comments. I'm sorry, y'all. I know I kind of went on a long explanation. I got very behind on comments. I'll try to go quick to catch up to all of you. Thank you for watching. Inconsistency, the bats have been too much of a recurring issue with this team. Stephen, I agree, but can we agree that a big part of that also is Paul Maneri doesn't stick with a lineup and guys don't get comfortable hitting in the lineup where they are? I mean, I think that's a two-way street. I think Paul is to blame for some of that. But I agree with you. Hunter St. Cyr, easy to say it now. The Cranford decision is the worst lineup change of the season. You're right, it is easy to say it now, but we said it on air yesterday when the lineup was posted as well. I mean, for me, Cranford wouldn't be in there. And I'm not trying to knock the kid. I'm really, really not. Y'all know how I feel. It's not about like knocking college kids, but I mean, kids hitting 111. I mean, he hadn't played, like really played in 2 months. Drew's up. Let me go get him. I'll be right back. Dad show? Come say hi to Dad. Nope, here you go. Okay. Here you go. All right, sorry about that, y'all. Thank you for hanging on. For those of you that did, appreciate that very much. Shannon, Matt, do you have any coaches in mind for us to hire if Monero retires? Sure, got plenty. Timely hitting, not there way too often. It's because the bottom third of your order is not very good. So you get guys on, but you can't get them in. Steven, still have yet to read any good rationale to insert Cranford in the game yesterday. Steven, I'm with you, man. The interesting thing is, like, I know what Paul Monero was thinking, right? I know what he was thinking. I don't agree with this, but I've covered him long enough to know what he's thinking. He's thinking we're playing. You got Marceau on the mound. We're playing in a large park where defense is at a premium. It'll probably be a low-scoring game. Let me put my best defensive lineup out there, and Cranford is also a right-handed bat. Gio's out. He wanted Bianco in center. Instead of putting Sanford in right or Drost in right, where guys have to cover a lot of ground, let me stick with the outfield that I have. I know Cranford will be good defensively. I'm not going to get anything I get out of him in the bottom of the lineup is lagniappe, but he's a right-handed bat. That's what he was thinking. I'm telling you, it's what he's thinking. And there's some logic behind it, I guess. I just don't agree. I mean, for all the reasons that we saw yesterday and against Texas A&M, as you all pointed out. All right. I think that's a lot of something I have to get up, y'all. I apologize. It's a little before 8. Let's do about 10 more minutes. See if we can speed through this. Cole, Brown, Arnold at second. Beloso, DH makes more sense. I agree. Boyer, morning Scone. Game was no fun to watch. Hold the rope to lift my spirits. That would certainly do it. Kirk, after all this is said and done, does Paul Monero get a statue at LSU? Not initially, Kirk, but at some point, I would assume so. Or a banner or something. I mean, you're a championship coach. You're going to get something. Cole Brown, about as uninspired as I've seen. LSU playing Hoover, big departure from hold the rope mentality. You know what's interesting, though, Cole? Skip's team's never played well in Hoover. That was never a focus. But I understand your point. Richard Bruce, if Georgia does some damage this week, can our RPI get better? So that's a good question. Here's the problem. So the answer would be yes if Georgia could climb into, let's see, Georgia is presently 41. So that's already a quad 1 win. So no, actually. I mean, yes, they keep winning. It would more so help your strength of schedule, but the only thing that would really help is if you had a win over a team that could jump into quad 1, but there's nobody there kind of on the bubble. Kentucky's out and you didn't play, or you did play Kentucky, but they're out. They're at 61. Yeah, you just don't, no, there's just no, South Alabama's at 72, UTSA's at 73. You didn't play Cincinnati, A&M's out. I mean, yeah, I mean, you're kind of, you are where you are. Cole missed out on a big Q1 win yesterday. That's true. But Cole, like I said, I think they're in. I think Hoover would have been an opportunity for LSU to improve its draw, but I still think they're in. I mean, it would have to take a whole lot of bid stealing among the one bid leagues and stuff like that for in these tournaments for LSU to be on the outside looking in. But I think Georgia and Bama solidified their status with their wins yesterday. Megan Hurst, good morning. Brian and Andy Penn, good morning from Iowa City. Can't believe they couldn't even get one run with the bases loaded. Yeah, Cranford at second, so everybody's kind of talking about. Ryan Dixon, it's brutal to see camera shots in the dugout with Maneri. Season has literally impacted him emotionally. Feel for the guy. Yeah. I mean, he's always he also always does react emotionally in the dugout shots, but I think it's been exacerbated this year. That's fair. Brandon Atchison, silver lining. If we get in, we have roughly a week to rest the pitching staff. I mean, that's true. You will go in rested, but the flip side of that, the other counter argument is, well, you go in rusty. Let's see. Kirk, Nebraska won the Big Ten. Thank you. So Iowa would be. Wait. Are they? I don't even know. Hang on. Are they doing a Big Ten baseball tournament? I mean, I know they play a conference-only schedule. So are they not doing a tournament? I don't see it. Forgive me, I don't know the answer to that. That might actually be a great help if they're not. If all those teams are done. Good. No Big Ten tournament? Kirk, that's huge. Thank you. I didn't even know that. Hayes in the barn then for those teams. And if teams like Iowa and Indiana are out and they can't improve their resume, that's great for LSU. Like bubble teams like that. Or Indiana and Ohio State, and let's see what they do with Iowa. You know what I mean? Like that's a huge boost for LSU. James Dean missed out on a live Craig toasted barrel. To grab the barrel proof at Calandros. Where did you see the toasted barrel? Brr. Was Cranford at second during the A&M series? Remember when Gio got hurt in game 1? They made the defensive replacement and put Cranford. They moved Bianco to center and put Cranford in at second. And that's in the first inning is when he was covering first and they threw the ball and it kind of glanced off his glove. Look, I mean, that'd be clear, y'all. Obviously, Cranford made a few mistakes yesterday, and those are notable and came in tough times in the game. I mean, it's also worth pointing out, after Cranford's error, the throwing error, if Marceau gets the next guy out, it's moot. But he gave up a bases-clearing double. You know what I mean? Should you have been out of the inning? Yes, absolutely. But that's not the thing that scored 4 runs. So, Cranford couldn't get the bunt down, no doubt. It's bad. Like, you got to be able to do that in that spot, no doubt. But that didn't end the inning. So, they had their chances, y'all. I mean, and I'm agreeing with everybody, by the way. I mean, I did not like the lineup yesterday. I said it on air yesterday when it was posted. But the whole win as a team, lose as a team thing, right? Clint Caballero agree with the statement on Bianco at second, upperclassman in the outfield. The trouble, Clint, is that Gio wasn't really available, right? I mean, that was the problem. So, your option was really if you keep Bianco at second, or if you wanted to put Arnold at second, you could put Bianco in center, and then you could keep Cruz in right. You didn't really have an option in the outfield. That was a problem, right? With Gio hurt, you'd have had to move. If you kept Bianco at second, you move Cruz to center, and then it's either Sanford or Drost in right. Jerry DeLucky, what's up? Jonathan Lambert, how does Georgia have so many lefties? We struggle to get one. Recruiting. Bottom line. There's no way to say it. Recruiting. Drew Hurst, good morning. Danny Mumford, and look, a little follow-up, and this is something that we've talked about, you've heard me say, just because you have a highly rated recruiting class doesn't mean you necessarily fit needs. Now, look, I'll point out Javen Coleman. Javen Coleman's a lefty who throws low 90s, who I think has a ton of potential. right? You know, but if all you're doing is recruiting the radar gun, you're going to miss guys. I mean, I know we've talked about him a bunch, but you know, the kid out of Lake Charles who's committed to Mississippi State, and that's a guy that there's no reason that kid should be committed to Mississippi State and not LSU. That's a miss. You know, there's a kid up. It's Peyton Stovall is his name. I'm pretty sure. Peyton Stovall is from Houghton, and I had a scout tell me that Peyton Stovall has the bet. Listen to this. Peyton Stovall, if you don't know him, look him up. Perfect game. Go look at his all sides on. Peyton Stovall's from Houghton. I had a scout tell me that Peyton Stovall has the best swing of any high school prospect he scouted in Louisiana. This is a big league scout, by the way. A major league scout told me this. Peyton Stovall has the best swing of any high school prospect in Louisiana he has scouted since Todd Walker. Yo, that's 30 years. Peyton Stovall's committed to Arkansas. Now, he's going to be a first-round pick, and he's going to sign, and he's not going to play at Arkansas. But how is that kid not committed to LSU? That's your problem. Danny Mumphrey, I want to happy your feeling note after LSU left a bad taste in my mouth. Up jumps a good taste. Bottle of Blanche for $13. Bottle of Elijah Craig Toast Barrel for $10. Did you just pluck that from the air? That'd be great if it was real. Wore my LSU hat at a brewery in Omaha. Got a free beer. Asked me if LSU was going to make it. I said not likely this year. That's a bummer. True though. Rode Yule. Maybe they can get some of the kids they have signed to campus. Ian Moeller will replace Milazzo. Milazzo's only a sophomore. Every great LSU team has had an all-around catcher. You can't just play defense at this level. Remember Rode? Milazzo hit last year. Do you remember that? Like, it's hard for people to remember this, but Milazzo did hit last year when the season was canceled. Like, I'm not giving up on him as an offensive player. Remember, Mike Papierski was a bad offensive player his first couple of years, and then came on late as a junior and really found his power stroke, and he's crushing it in AAA right now. So don't totally give up on Milazzo. Brian, finally bought some crypto. I was reading if you put 5 in Bitcoin in 2015, when it first started to be worth 200,000, I bought Cardano. There you go. Cardano is a good bet. Now you got to keep in mind, like, one of the reasons Bitcoin has gone to 50,000 will continue to accelerate is because there is a finite supply. There are only 21 million Bitcoin that will ever be mined. Other coins like Ethereum and Cardano and some of those other tokens, there's a much larger supply, so you're never going to see those go to 50,000, right? But Cardano at $1.50, could Cardano get to $10, $20? Like, could you 10x, 20x your money? Yes, you could, absolutely. James, once they scored 4 runs, Cranford should not have been in the game. The logic of winning a low-scoring game is out the window at that point. Yeah, there's some truth to that, James. But the counterpoint is have your best defense in there to keep it a low-scoring game. And Cranford did make a great play. Ranged to his right, snagged the ball behind the back, stepped on second for the third out of an inning. I mean, he did make one good play. I understand your point. Father John David Mathern. Morning, Scone. Long time since I've been able to tune in. Change the subject. Watch your discussion on Richardson to the Saints, reflecting on how underrated and dominant Leroy Glover was in the trenches for the Saints. The Hazlitt years were fun. Leroy Glover was a monster, dude. Wearing that 97. Ooh. Reminds me a lot of David Onyemata, actually. Interior player, good against the run, also can rush the passer. It's a good comp. Finally watched Hold the Rope. Coolest moment was Mike Martin calling Skip the best. That is pretty cool. It's the third-party validation, which is true. John Grunlin. Grunlian. Grunlian. You still haven't told me if I'm saying it correct, John. I've read this 100 times. What? What's the third? Let's see. What? Let's see. Shelby, nah, dude, it's about being competitive. They're not a competitive team right now. You have one starter, one reliever. Your two most dependable position guys are freshmen, just being a realist. Shelby, you're actually dead wrong. Like, they won 13 SEC games. They won 4 of their last 5 SEC series. Like, Marceau's a stud. Hilliard's emerged as a number 2. What do you mean they're not being competitive? Like, that's a completely flawed argument. I mean, that's you being an angry fan right now. I'm just gonna call it like it is, bro. Like, to say they're not competitive, no. Like, Missouri was not competitive, right? Like, there are teams that are not competitive in this league. Like, LSU won 4 of their last 5 series. They won more road series than they did home series this year. Your ace just threw a complete game yesterday, and Mikhail is definitely a number 2 that we could say you have 2 starters, and you have developed arms out of the bullpen. I don't buy that at all, bro. That's not being a realist. That's being sad fan right now. Kenneth Martin, top 5 recruiting class, top 5 facilities in baseball, 18 to 25 RPI just doesn't cut it. But Kenneth, I'll tell you the thing, back to the recruiting point. Let me put you in terms like this. You remember under Les when LSU, there was a year where LSU had more kickers on scholarship than linebackers. Do you remember that? They had recruited that kid Clifton Garrett. It was the number 1 inside linebacker. They couldn't keep Clifton Garrett out of Tigerland, so he was here for 1 year and then left. And they had some attrition. Guys leave early for the draft, something like that. And they went into a year with more linebackers, more place kickers than linebackers on scholarship. They still had top 5 recruiting classes every year. The problem was they weren't recruiting the right type of player and fitting needs. That's LSU's major problem in recruiting right now. When you recruit throwers instead of pitchers, when you recruit middle infielders and center fielders, and you don't have the big bopper in the lineup that everybody needs to pitch around. That's where this team and this program has been lacking, and that's where they've got to improve. Let's see. Bama thought there was no next Bear Bryant either than Saban came. 40 years later. Cliff, hey man, maybe 40 years later someone else will come along, but anyway. All right. I think we're just about done, y'all, and I got to get rolling anyway. I got a 9 o'clock meeting, so y'all have a great day. I know a bummer last night, but here's hoping that LSU gets a little help. The no bid Steelers out there. Chalk holds this week. Tigers get in the tournament. We'll find out on Monday. So, we got locked on LSU coming up in a bit. AFR at 3. As always, shout out to Brock and Hudco. Tagged in the post here on Facebook. If you're there on YouTube and you haven't yet, please hit the like button. Thumbs up. We appreciate it. And same for you here on Facebook. Please like the page, share the post, like the page, share the post. All right. Y'all have a great rest of your day, and we'll see you later.